5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, great flick on by Alan Armstrong. Oh, what a beauty! Oh, what a beauty! I waited all my life for that. What a screamer!
Nice to meet you.
Hello and welcome to the Scarf Bagara War. Nicky here. I don't know where he's been. Probably been missing, have you, again?
No, I had a parcel to wait for.
You had a parcel?
Yeah, I was waiting for a parcel.
And what was it?
It was a big box full of county news, views and opinion. I didn't know. I had to come and get that here.
It was delivered here ages ago, man.
If only I'd known, mate, I would have come here for the afternoon and got a pint and everything. It's been great.
So yeah, we've got, as you can see, we've got Dave Conlon with us. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you. Good evening, both of you. Okay.
Yeah, not bad. The thing with this is you don't have to look into the camera, just look at us. Yeah, they're not interested. They're not. Don't see
weirdos.
Yeah. Do you like my new setup, by the way?
It's good, that, yeah. I think it's everything now.
No, I just thought I'd go a bit Soccer Annie on it. Yeah.
I'm sure you objectify some women in a minute.
Like they used to. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so I've done a bit of prep. Have you done your prep?
No, my prep was getting my parcel, mate. I've done that, and then just had the worst time with the buses on the way. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I live on like the busiest bus route in Europe, but then there'll be like a 10-minute spell every week where there's no buses.
Right.
And that's just coinciding with me leaving the house.
You look a bit flustered. You chill out. You go and get yourself a beer. There's bottles in there if you want a beer.
Lovely stuff. Right, I'll let you crack on with the actual podcast.
Yeah, we've got pints, but I can't do you a pint, can I? Unless there's a no pint glasses there either. So.
I'll get a bottle. It's fine, mate.
Oh, there is a pint glass. If you want to use that. Well, you just get what you want. Let's not have a beer conversation. I know. Yeah, we forget the laughs. Anyway, sorry about that, Dave.
No problem. You need asking twice to get a drink. Make yourself at home.
So, like I said before we started, we just wanted to chat with you from my perspective. I always do it chronologically because I like to know about the guests coming on, especially the amount that you've done for county. I just want to know how you got into football, and we'll take it all the way through to today. So I guess the first thing is, I know you're a PE teacher by trade, but how did you get into football through that route? Because that's quite a unique route, I guess, in today's game.
Yeah, it is. So it started before I was PE teaching. I was coaching. So at university, I did sport and business. So I started coaching at uni, and then after that, I went and worked doing football and community. So it's coaching the younger ages, really. So different ages, different abilities. And then as I progressed through the coaching badges and got B license, it opened doors to work at Centre of Excellence. So I actually worked at Stockport when they were back in the league. Centre of Excellence for 4 or 5 seasons. And then that was a part-time job, so a couple of evenings and a Sunday. And then while I was doing that, I ended up at Aquinas and doing teaching, and sort of fell into that. So I went to Aquinas doing some coaching work with Steve Bellis when he had the Chinese students on.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So the project didn't last quite as long as it should have done, but I was at sort of foot in the door at Aquinas. I'd started my teacher training today. So fortunate for me at the time, they kept me on and kept me the job as a PE teacher. And then the coaching always ran alongside it. So coaching was always my sort of main interest and my passion as such. And I kept that with different roles, the part-time at the Centre of Excellence, and then sort of playing non-league and a little bit of coaching non-league, and working with Lordy. So I worked with Al at the Centre of Excellence, and then also played for Al at Everton. And that was when I sort of first came to Stockport with the first team set up when Al took over. So a lot to thank Al for.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about Al shortly, I guess. But when you mentioned that you were in the academy early days, we're talking mid-2000s, are we?
Yes.
Did you train any of the players that then went on to play for the club?
There was a couple that were in sort of year or two above us. So when we were doing the 15s, the 16s were great at the time. So the 16s at the time were run by Lordy and Peter Ward. So they had the likes of Tommy Rowe in that team. So that 16 team, they got loads of lads who actually went through and played for the first team. Yeah. So if we ever played a game with them, our 15s, they are 16s, we didn't win often.
Right. Bloody hell, yeah. Because Gannon gave Rowe his debut, didn't he? Was he Watford away?
Yes, I think that's right.
Yeah. Cracky stuff. He used to say good stuff, don't I? I might go back to good stuff.
No. No, it's EFL now, mate.
Oh,
You can say what you want. Yeah.
We're EFL, yeah. Yeah, I guess we'll get to that as well. So fast forward to did you I think you left the club for a while then, did you? And
So I worked with Al. So that was part time. So I was still teaching, but then I was working with Al obviously when it was part time. So I did 3/4 of a season when I first came in when Al had just taken over, and then a full season with Al and Phil Brown as well. So it was the three of us. It was a coaching team then really. And then Al stepped down in the summer at the end of that season. So then went away from the club, albeit only for a short time, really, how it worked out. So through sort of mutual friend with Al, that was when I ended up working with Jim at Northwich. So at the end of finishing Stockport, worked with Jim at Northwich. And then obviously it was Jim came back in the January.
2016?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was with Jim, and again, fortunately, I came back with Jim as well.
Right,
So,
and you've been here ever since.
Yeah, you can't get rid of me ever since.
I like it. People are telling me to move me mic away a bit. I must be sounding like I don't know what they call, like an MC, like kind of Jimboing. Yeah. Apologies for that. I'll move it away.
Don't apologise, Ross. You be who you want, mate. This weather's got me all tetchy.
Yeah, as a bit. Yeah.
I'm sick of it. Done.
The new camera will probably get how flustered you are as well. And sweaty.
Yeah.
HD can
Finally. That's what people pay the big money for, isn't it? This is why people chuck money into the PayPal.
So January 2016, there with Jim's assistant at that point.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And then assistant all the way through, and we will cover some of those days as well, all the way through to, I guess, your current role, because you were assistant to Rusk.
Yep.
After Jim, and then assistant to Challinor. But you're not assistant now, are you? How does that work?
Yeah, so it changed in terms of the title changed sort of last summer when Simon Rusk wanted to bring in his own assistant as such. So I was still part of the first team staff, but was classed as first team coach.
Right.
So it didn't change any of the day-to-day roles or the coaching responsibilities, but it was a change in title, I guess, which I still am now first team coach as opposed to the assistant.
Right.
So I don't know if that means it's harder to get rid of me or easier to get rid of me.
Well, I don't know, because you've probably got a harder job, because when Gary Stockforth was on, he said assistant was the easiest job because you just stand there and nod and agree with the manager. Whereas if you're an actual coach, you've actually got a coach, haven't you? So
yeah, words of wisdom from Gary.
As always,
we've had loads.
They're just the ones that we could get into the episode that we're allowed in.
Can't repeat most of this.
Got hours of stuff, haven't we?
Yeah. So coaching then, because I've done my level 2, pretty proud of that, So what level have you? You're not pro yet, are you? Are you A?
No, it was A license, yeah. So
Right.
I've not done pro license, but A license, yeah. So I did that around 9 or 10 years ago now.
Oh right,
Yeah,
bloody
so
hell.
a while, yeah.
So would you not look to go to pro then with that sort? Because you've got the experience, haven't you, within that 10 years easily?
Yeah, we were only talking about the other day, really. The pro licenses, if you're working full time in the football league, really. So one thing wouldn't be with it being a lot of the time in non-league.
Yeah.
And then it's the ones getting on it, there's a massive sort of waiting list, so it's so difficult to get on it. And then there won't be the expense and what you gain from doing it. So it's something I'd like to do in the future, but like I said, it's difficult first and foremost to get on it and justifying the sort of expense. But yeah, it's definitely something in the future.
Yeah, and like you say, I guess the value you get out of it, what would it give you? Does that mean you can manage in the Premier League? I mean,
yeah,
is that the only
so
thing, really?
I think that's the only, in terms of the qualification for a job, would be managing in the Premier League. So
Right.
I guess until the phone goes, I don't need to do that just yet.
United will be about another 3 months off picking another one, won't they? So, it's like being in the fall. Everyone's got to have a go.
So the question we ask, I think we ask everybody, who did you support growing up? And if it is Man United, you can say it, but we won't like you.
You'll know. Well, it was City growing
Oh,
up.
was it? Oh, there you go.
I'll live. You've more than cancelled it out.
Yeah, I was season ticket holders with my dad, sort of growing up. So I went to City with my dad, and then it got to the age when sort of going to football with mates as well. Not living in Stockport, a lot of my mates were County fans, so we used to go to County, whether that be on a Friday and City on a Saturday, and then you sort of enjoy doing that with your mates, getting a bus down and going on Castle Street for a drink, etc., and doing that. So yeah,
And that would have been, because you're a similar age to me, aren't you? That would have been in the really good days of the mid-90s.
yeah, that was a good days.
Yeah.
Yeah, so trips
Cracking.
to
It gets you, doesn't it? It gets you.
Does, yeah.
Better
Yeah.
than City, wasn't it, back then?
Yeah. I never went to City.
High definition.
Oh, right.
Well,
Oh, no, yeah, we were,
In
clearly.
terms
We
of
were.
the level of football.
Yeah, we were factually better than City then.
Yeah.
Going to call me glory. Something like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you did UEFA A 10 years ago. I'm surprised that, because Keno was on a couple of weeks ago. He said he did his UEFA B when he was in his early 20s.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, he's getting through them really quickly, aren't they? I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
So it's I guess that was what gave me the opportunity to, when Al asked me, because I had that qualification, so it meant it had some experience in the coaching levels that I could work with the first team and work with sort of senior football. So I'd got different experiences with the college, sort of under 19 football, and then some different non-league, but not at that level. But with the qualification, it was more just, it opens up doors for you, which it did at the time.
Yeah. Who's been your biggest influence coaching wise, sort of in person and sort of externally as well?
I guess in person would be, I had a brilliant mentor from the FA. So when we're doing the A license, you have your cluster groups, the Northwest cluster groups, which is where sort of still friends with some of the coaches on the course, and then you get assigned an FA member of staff, and they'll come and watch you in your own environments. You'll meet up 3 or 4 of you. You'll put sessions on, and they give you some advice and they help you. And I think we were lucky that we had a brilliant mentor in that, who sort of went above and beyond, really came and watched us at our clubs, and we'd go around the different clubs where we all coached at the time. He'd give up his time and watched us. And he's been a sort of full-time member of the FA since that, member of staff. But he's just took a job at Forest, so he's called Jamie Robinson. So he's
Right.
not very well known, but he's very highly thought of in the coaching circles and at the FA, and he's just gone in there as first team coach. I think he's one who probably made it a little bit more simple or understanding. You can get blown away sometimes with trying to do everything and what you're trying to do, and he was one who really just made a penny drop and simplified things, and he was good. It was no nonsense. If you did something good, yeah, well done. But also if you didn't, he told you just what you wanted. You wanted to hear it straight. So he was someone who definitely was key in this sort of development role like that.
Yeah. What type of coach are you then? Based on that.
In what sense? In terms of,
yeah, are you like a director coach? Are you hands off? Are you sit back and watch? Give them something to do. Sit back and watch. I forget all the terms now, but you know what I mean, don't you?
Yeah. Try to do it. I think now you need to do a bit of everything, really. So a little bit of everything. I think you need to coach for the environment you're in or the players you're in. So sometimes you can let the players figure out stuff themselves and solve problems, but other times you need to tell them. So you need to sort of tell them, be a bit more sort of autocratic with them and tell them what to do.
That's the word I was looking for.
It's got it for you. And then if I'm volunteering, helping out with my Littlands team, it's obviously loads different. So
Yeah.
I think that as a coach, it's trying to be able to do a little bit of everything, different environments, different players, different needs, different times. If you've got to get information on during the game, it's got to be quick and concise.
Yeah.
But likewise, I think it's always good if the players can come up with the answers and solutions themselves. If you can guide them into it and they understand it, then you're probably going to get a bit more out of them if they can understand the game.
Yeah. How different is coaching County's first team to coaching kids?
I think the first team's probably easier than coaching the kids.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where I was getting to, because
Yeah.
certainly when I was coaching, you had to be adaptable. One week there'd be, 13 turned up, the next week it'd be 9. I'd do my planning during the week, and then it'd just go out the window because the amount of kids that I was planning for hadn't turned up, and I had to move cones and stuff. But like you say, it's easier with the adults.
Yeah, definitely. I think with the adults now, facilities, infrastructure, what numbers you've got, they're there to work and to learn as such.
Yeah.
It can be challenging. Obviously, it's challenging because you've got to keep them engaged and give them the right information, and they want to enjoy it as much as the kids want to enjoy it. But yeah, I think sometimes with the kids, you don't know who's coming or who's going, or if they even like football or what they want to play. So yeah, there's a little bit of I guess babysitting goes on there.
Yeah, definitely. It probably is with the adults as well.
Yeah, true.
Because you got to keep them, like, it's not switched on. Well, switched on, yes, but also you need to keep them on board, don't you? Because if they lose trust in your coaching or what you're putting on, they can go the other way as well, can't they?
Yeah, definitely. I think they're certainly new players. They always want they're weighing you up probably as a coach as much as you're weighing them up as a player. So they want to know is it going to be different? Is it going to be the same session every week, or how are you going to change it, and how do you keep them motivated? So yeah, it keeps you going and trying new things all the time. Definitely.
Do you ever just like nonchalantly ping one into the top left just to keep it real, to keep showing that you've got it.
Show the demo.
Yeah.
Is that what you did?
With 9-year-olds.
Yeah.
Just like lofting one,
Yeah.
you know. Then one of them's going like, "Wow, we can play football." Yes, I can. I can coach you.
I did get through some kick-ups when I was walking through the park the other day. Some kids lost the ball and they were quite impressed with my kick-ups.
Were they?
Yeah. Probably think he's got a good touch for a big man.
Yeah,
I'd imagine. Yeah, that was good.
So joining County in 2016 January, we've been doing this since January 2015. People are probably sick of hearing that, but I like saying it because it's a long time. We consider there our dark days, really, don't we, to be from when Kennedy left the club up until Jim returned, really, aren't we? And Steve Bellis and George Hudson. So where I'm getting at with that is you came back at a really good time where what we consider to be the dark days are over. To coin a song. What song's that?
It's Florence and the Machine.
That's
It's Dog Days. It's
is it
not
Dog Days? Is it not Dark Days?
No.
I've been singing it wrong all this
No,
time.
it's one of them. It does sound. It would make more sense.
It would, yeah.
But they have Florence. Yeah, hippy dippy, no bad. What you've done.
So yeah, you come in at a really good time. What was the mood like, if you can remember, at that time when you came in?
I think so. Just roll it back a little bit more with Al. I think Lordy did a brilliant job at the time.
Yeah.
He sort of stopped the decline as such. You know, I can remember the first couple of games with him where it sounds crazy now, but they could have gone out of the Conference North. You know,
No,
what would have happened then, I don't know. So I think, you know, the job Lordy did with so many restrictions, a budget, you know, his hands tied. It was superb. Sort of not only steadied it, but he actually turned it round and sort of started it pointing forward again. And I think that was a huge job. And he rightly gets the credit for it now, but I think from many County fans who know, they'll give Lordy the credit he deserves for that. I think coming back, it was probably that more renewed optimism that something could happen. You know, it can change and it will get better, but it was only ever small little jumps. I guess we were always only little improvements. I think we've improved every year, sort of been involved and always finished higher. And I think. Coming back with Jim, he probably then changed the professionalism. So he changed the professional side on the pitch and off the pitch. And, I think people know it was well documented that he helped off the pitch as well. And he guided them and helped the club in more than one way, not just on the pitch for the football and players, but he introduced sort of fast forwarding a little bit, he introduced the extra morning a week. So the Monday mornings. And again, it was this giant club that had turned and was pointing in the right direction, but it still took a hell of a lot of work to get it going. And I think obviously without Jim's work, it wouldn't have got to where it did get, and it wouldn't have made it probably a club that was appealing from the outside for the investment. It was everyone could see the potential, but it was just starting to get that a little bit with the bigger crowds and into the playoffs, and obviously after that more success.
Yeah. I think you've kind of stole our thunder, really, because that's the route we were going down. I mean, it does. It's you and Jim and the coaching staff and Lordy and all the players that contributed to that era between 2016 and 20. When did Stock take over? 2020, January 2020. So some of the lads that are still here now. I mean, it's almost like we can't thank you lot enough, really, can we? As people.
But if you said when like Lordy was having to sell players mid-season and he's having to play basically a team full of kids and get them to do a job, I'd never have thought that we'd be sat here 7-8 years later, like talking about people who were actually legends and who are still at the club now and stuff that just felt so far away, didn't it? Yeah,
going into the Football League as well. Just doing this podcast, we just didn't even fathom it, did we? It wasn't even entering our heads, was it?
That's the only reason I came on, because you needed someone to talk about not football. And now, it's like, can you talk about the football?
Now that we're talking about the football, Nick, you need to step up, mate.
That's why you get to go and do talks, though. They don't want this.
So all throughout that era, then, I guess there's two questions. We had a question in from Ian Dowden, who asks a question every week. And sorry, Ian, we haven't got an album cover for you. Can't even get one.
Should have brought it with me.
Should have brought it with you.
Should have brought it with me in my Uber with Mohammed. He already seemed angry enough that he had to come up that hill. Did he? Outside yours. Yeah. So if I'd gone, can you just hold my vinyl for me as well?
Burns about £3 of fuel.
He's livid. He's not charged me enough.
Of the current crop, I'll tell you what. Let's start with all the other players that you've managed or coached through at County from 2016 to now, who's been the best trainer and the worst trainer? Not excluding the current crop. We'll get to the current crop in a second. When you can dig someone out now.
I think going back to with Al, I think that a standout player there would be Phil Jevons, who was top class sort of on and off the pitch. He was brilliant.
Right.
I think guess someone new coming into coaching that level and that environment. He was great with me. He was doing his coaching at the time, so he only left the club because he got offered a full-time job at Everton.
Right.
So it was great to work with someone like him. And I think Al during that season, Al made him captain during that season, and he, led by example. He was brilliant. So whether it be training and dressing room, a great go between the players and the staff. So I think somebody in that time, he was brilliant. He sort of was dragging a team through on some performances. He was standout. You could tell he had that little bit of a class above other players, but also he was great. He loved his time there, and it was. I think if he'd have played when the club were higher, fans then would have realised just how good he was.
Yeah.
But as a person around the club as well, he was superb. So
Nice.
He was brilliant.
So, generally he was a class above, wasn't he? I mean, he played in the Premier League, did he not?
Yes, yeah. He had. And you think sometimes if players are dropping down, it'd be easy for him just to, is a heart in it. What's the next step? But he was someone who wanted to win at everything he did.
Yeah. What about worst trainer then?
Worst trainer. I'm struggling now. I'll have a think about this one and come back to.
I mean, there's some names in there for worst player, so one of them are probably.
Yeah.
I'm going to get splinters, aren't I, sitting on the fence? Naming worst players, worst trainers.
What about the current crop? Okay, let's not go with worst trainer first, then in the current crop that they would admit it themselves. Because sometimes you get players, don't you, who don't train really well, but then on a Saturday they turn up, don't they?
Yeah, I think you'll think I'm being diplomatic here, but the group we've got sort of now and what we had last season and unbelievable trainers. The level and intensity that they train at is fantastic. If there's a game of 5-6 aside or whatever at the end of a training, no one wants to lose. There's no one who'll forget it, won't be trying. It'd get dug out by the other lads. But the standard and the intensity and professionalism of that is unbelievable. Honestly, I think people are quite surprised if you come and watch that. Wow, you train at this intensity, and I think that's rolled over to how we play. Certainly since the new managers come in, we're playing with an intensity that's unbelievable. That other teams couldn't live with last season, and that came from him sort of getting the intensity right in training and demanding in training, and it's the players love it. So I wouldn't say there's a. I bet my phone's probably going now, and the staff are all putting names in it. Why aren't you saying it?
No, I mean we don't want you to name, like I say, dig somebody out. We spoke to Challinor, didn't we, in the King's Tap just after we won promotion.
Still available,
yeah. Watch it on our YouTube channel. And he said, what was it about? It was about the intensity, and I said, well, but if you keep up that intensity, you've mentioned it about training. We spoke about it at the time in matches because we could tell from that first Bolton match the intensity just switched in it from Rusk's style of play. Is there a danger then? I'll ask you the same question. Is there a danger with the coaching and the training sessions that if you keep that intensity up, you bring on fatigue and invite injury? And how do you mitigate that? Yeah,
for me, when you put it like that, you think you can't train at that level and that intensity. But I think that's where it takes, it's managing it so it'll be done in shorter periods of time. So what we do, it'll be done over shorter periods. So there might be technical work that's done a little bit lower intensity. And then if it's something match specific, it could be walked through or at half pace or on a pose. But then when there's a time to go, it goes and it hits those levels. And I think that became our, the intensity became our sort of trademark last season. And that's what, speaking to opposition teams are like, you just couldn't handle it. You blew us away. And, we're scoring early goals and getting games won by half time as such. So there could be a danger of it, but I think it's managed, and that's down to the staff of sports science, and they'll look at it. So we've got the lads who will wear the pods, GPS pods, so the training loads are monitored. So there'll be a weekly schedule of what we want to hit in terms of distances, high speed, etc. And then that's broken down to to daily ones, and obviously if we go a little bit over, then the next day will go a little bit under, and likewise. And that's that's credit to how good the staff are at doing that. And then it manages it, and the week will tailor off a little bit. So the Friday will be the lightest session, so we're going into Saturday, with that fresh and able to do it. And I also think we're fortunate where we've got the squad, where if players come out, players can go in and they can match it, so they can match out. So it's not like if you're missing a couple through injury, illness, suspension, then it's going to weaken. It's not, and the lads who weren't playing towards the end of the season, maybe they were doing the job by still training, so they were ready. When they got their opportunity, they were ready to go, and that's why the squad was so important.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. We got a question from a chap called Andy Plant. It links into what you just said. He says, how long in advance do the coaching staff prepare for county players for a specific match day situations they may face? Given now that given the 2 half-time substitute rule plus the extra 3, how has that affected coaching preparations? Now a game of 2 halves almost, he says.
Yeah, I guess if we sort of 2 elements to that question. So one would be if we were playing Saturday to Saturday, we'd be looking at the opposition the next game straight after the game. Really, certainly if it was on an away trip, we'd be looking at watching our game back or watching the next game. Then Monday would be almost a bit of a recovery session or a top-up session for the lads who haven't played, and then we'd be doing some specific work Tuesday, Thursday for the next opposition. So that might be some attacking practices where we think we can exploit the opposition, or something we need to be wary about, sort of counteracting some of their attacking sort of strengths. So we'd look on that on sort of themes on the Tuesday or Thursday, and then on the Friday, then we'd sort of nail down the any little bits if there was a change in game plan or a change in shape, and then go through set pieces as well. So dependent, if we've got the full week to practice, we'll do little bits throughout the week, and then we'll do some specific work for the opposition. And then also we have team meetings on the Friday and the Saturday where we'll show the lads what the opposition do, how they play, what the threats are, what we need to nullify. So we've got, again, great analysis team that'll put videos together and they'll get clips, and then we'll look at how we can exploit them, whether that be set pieces or in the game. So they'll watch some videos the day before and then on the day of the game as well. So Saturday to Saturday makes it quite easy. It's when you've got a midweek game and it's tougher, so you're limited. So I think that's why a strength of ours last year was we stuck to our principles a lot. So we tweaked a little bit, so we changed bits for opposition, but we were almost like, what we're good at, let's do it. So if we're good at this, let them worry about us. And we'd be aware if they had something specific or a key play we need to be aware of. But the focus, I think, turned to being about us and what are we good at, and let's use our strengths. So that would be planning in terms of opposition. In terms of the subs will change this year, so you're allowed 5 subs. Yeah. So it's only 3 opportunities or half time. So probably links back to that intensity question where you can play at that intensity even more so, because you know that you're going to be able to change a couple of players. I think last year it was tough when we had to name the squad because we're leaving out good players every week. It was almost like we need to have an extra couple of subs, and they'd be training great, they'd be doing nothing wrong, but unfortunately the 18, 19, whatever it was, quality players we had didn't fit into a match day 16. And then we had sometimes we didn't put a goalkeeper on the bench, and then towards the end we did. So it's different ways of managing it. Whereas this time now we'll be able to include a couple extra. Yeah. So we've got more tactical options, and then hopefully again we can more opportunities to keep that high energy going. Yeah. So it should help us. I think again, going back to how fortunate we are, what a good squad we've got. The more quality you've got on the bench, the more it's going to help you. So you've got more options. It's not like you never look at the bench and think, I don't want to put him in. Where's he going? It's not like that. So it should help us. But we spoke about it as staff. It's going to be different. So we've got to be aware of that, and there'll be conversations near the time.
Yeah, I think Dave Challinor said at the fans forum last night. He talked about squad sizes and the substitutes and things. He mentioned that one player has to be from a youth system, I think, on the bench or something like that. So that's Cody Johnson, isn't it? It's just a shoe-in, isn't it?
That's it. He has to be named in the 22-man squad. Right. So you need one player that's homegrown, developed as such a club person.
Yeah. Okay, right. Yeah.
So he will be in the 22-man squad.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Have they got a question in from Phil Panton? Have the new players been surprised by the intensity of the training sessions and the way that we play?
Yeah, I think that's one of the comments really from most new players when they come in. So whether it be last season, lads coming on loan, they were like, wow, it's fast, it's quick, it's done with a purpose. So it's a little bit of a shock to them probably at first that, there's no easy Aussie stuff. There is a time, but then when it's into it, it's done bang on. So it is a little bit of a shock for new players coming in. But going back to recruitment, again, what I think the recruitment staff have done really well is they're getting players in who can do that.
Yeah.
So if you look at the players we've got this year, they've played lots of games, so they're used to it and they're robust to play lots of games. They've got a good record of no injuries and high levels of fitness, so they can play the style we want to. They can do what we want. But yeah, good question, and it is a little bit of a shock for some lads coming in, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, it always looks a shock. It always looks a shock to me. Oh no, it always looks a shock to Ryan Johnson to me. He looks shocked, if that makes sense, at how fast it is, because he's a bit like Neo, because he's like the game's going fast really around him, and he's just like, bang,
got it on lockdown,
bang, yeah, that kind of thing. But he's a really good player, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he's great. I think because he's used to training at that intensity. On the Saturday, it's not like, I've got to have one less touch, I've got to do something different. It's like, well, the lads have been pressing me all week, so now it's easy. It's easy. Yeah.
I always thought I'd like to be a professional footballer. Then I saw they were training yesterday, and I was just like, "No, you're all right. I'm not going out in that."
But it's a good point though. Was that a shorter session yesterday under the conditions? And
yeah, it was. We trained earlier, so we tried to combat that a little bit by training earlier.
Right.
Yeah, but I guess it was only 34 degrees rather than 36. So we did try. We tried to help out. Yeah, we trained a little bit earlier yesterday, so it wouldn't be quite as hot.
Yeah,
and just the usual stuff, more drinks breaks, etc., stuff like that.
Yeah, and what are maybe easier on the numbers when you get them in and you look at them and go, well, it was the hot that day, so we can.
So again, we can bring it down a little bit, knowing that they can do a little bit extra on Thursday and then bring it down on Friday. Saturday, So. Yeah,
gutted.
No, I had a sweat on just being stood there before the players had even come out, just setting up. The staff was sweating under the heat. So
God, it shows how unfit. Oh, shows how unfit I was. I was sweating setting up this. Got a proper sweat on.
I've sweated pretty much doing everything for the past week or so. Everything I've done has been caked in a layer of sweat. I'm glazed now.
Phil Cross, what do the new lads think of the facilities? I guess that's a massive selling point now, isn't it, for new players?
Definitely. When the lots of most will come round and have a little look round before they actually sign, so they'll come and look at the training facilities, and I think you can tell them how good it is. So it's easy when you're telling somebody, "Oh, it's brilliant. We've got this, we've got that. The pictures are great. We've got the players' lounge, we've got the analysis suite." But even that, well, you can tell them how good it is when they actually come round and see it. It does. They're like, wow. Yeah, it's good, and they'll say, got players who've played at a high level, and they'll be like, this is as good as championship clubs have got. So it's, it's definitely much easier to sell them that when they're coming in and looking around and they're seeing what they can see in the players area and going out and seeing what the grass pitch are like. Yeah, it makes it a sell. And I think the facilities, and even if they come to enter to the round, or if they've played against us on opposition, I know when the lads from Torquay who joined us, they were asked, what was it like when you played against us towards the end of the season? And like, I can't believe it. It's a Tuesday night, and the atmosphere and the attendance. So I think the size of the club, Edgeley and the training ground make it an easier one to sell rather than training on half a pitch on an AstroTurf on a Tuesday night.
Yeah,
it's like we said before, it's miles away from where we've come.
Yeah. Someone's put XXX XXL shirt, Rust. Nice, like a smiley face. No, it's not quite that, but it does hide my beer belly. That's
we all need that now.
Yeah, that's grown over lockdown. We've got a few more coming in here as well. So, are the subs decided to change the system or impact the game more? Are the subs decided to change system or impact game more? That's from Waggy. I don't quite understand that, but do you?
I don't understand anything, mate.
I thought you were going to give us some words of wisdom.
Well, actually, I think you're fine.
I think we've used subs to change shape. Yes, we've changed shape before, so it might be with whether that's sacrifice a defender to put a more attacking player on if we're chasing it, or vice versa if we're locking up, so we can change shape, change systems with it. And freshen it up, if somebody maybe it's not going for them, it might just give somebody a little fresh impetus. Or again, a bit of recharge, fresh legs coming on, so it can be a little bit of everything there.
Yeah, I was going to say, Waggy, you must have played Football Manager. You make subs for all different kinds of situations, don't you?
Sentimental, mainly.
Yeah, sentimental.
Yeah. I also have one sentimental sub on there. Like either a player who's going to be retiring or like a young kid from the academy.
But I bet
doing a bit.
Because you like your squad numbers, do you have like a number 7 on the bench, and he's not quite good enough to be better than the number 33 that's right wing, but you'll put him on anyway?
Yeah. So I'm coming to the tail end of Marcus Rashford's career on my thing. So he gets a spot on the bench just for feeding the kids and that. He's always on there, even though he's retiring.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. We'll move on to squad numbers, because we asked Charlie this, and he was like, well, some players like it. Are you a squad number man? Do you get involved in any of that?
No, I think it's the lads will like the number sometimes, but it's not always a 1 to 11 number, is it? So
No.
it could be the first number they had when they've signed the first professional deal. It might be the number they wore last year, and they had a great season, so they want to keep it.
Yeah.
If there's 6-7 players who all want number 10, they're not going to all get it. So again, there's a little bit of trying to keep people happy, but who it is, and I think lads, they understand now when we've got such a strong squad that it's not really unusual what numbers they have.
Yeah.
So it's
Have you ever had it at kids' age? I had one once when I was coaching Dan's team. This dad said to me, "Oh, by the way, my lad, can he have number 11? That's the number I want, because that's his favourite number." Some United player plays with number 11. It's like, right, okay, you do realise it's 9 aside, don't you? yeah, but I want to have number 11. I'm like, this is stupid.
That's what happens when you can't eat your kids anymore.
But this is what happens when people watch football on TV and don't actually go to the games and stuff, don't they?
What are you going to say? Because he mentioned United play, you just said no.
No.
That's triggered that point.
Got like a twitch going. But yeah, have you ever had anything like coaching the kids and that's like anything as absurd as what I've just told you?
No, I don't think so. I think when my lads started playing, they got a kit and a number, and like you said, it was 1 to 7 or whatever it was. So yeah, I don't think there was any fallout there, or not that I knew of.
Good, well, that's how it should be.
They got the shirt. Yeah, they got the short. Yeah, so there might be tears and tantrums next year, maybe.
It's when they all start like coming. I want number 99, and they start replicating the favourite footballer with their hair.
Replicating Mr. Whippy. 99. No, he says I really want number 99, then turns up to training just as an ice cream man. Oh god.
Oh,
but I think what it is, Russ, because when I used to play for Apollo Juniors, shout out. I don't think they're going anymore, so I don't think it matters. When I used to play for Apollo Juniors, when I was in the starting 11, it was normally because someone else wasn't available. So you obviously have the bag with all the shirts in, and everyone would fight over them.
Yeah.
And like generally, the attacking lads would get like 9 and 10 because it's 4-4-2 back then.
Yeah.
Mid-90s. But I'd always just be left with whatever shirt. So I think that's why I'm so bothered about squad numbers now.
Right, yeah.
I can finally control it. It's like, when you're a kid and you're just like, I just want to drink Sunny Delight and eat Pop-Tarts all day. And then when you turn to like 18, 19, you're like, oh, I live on my own. I can drink Sunny Delight and eat Pop-Tarts all day. And then you do it and you're like, oh, I don't want to ever eat them things again. So that's what I'm like with squad numbers. It's a part of my chaotic life that I can control, Russ.
I like it, yeah. So
apart from when Trent Alexander-Arnold comes on telly, still wearing 66, and I'm just like, what are you doing?
But why does he have that, by the way? It's not a Liverpool podcast.
I looked it up after we discussed it last.
It's not England World Cup, is it? Sure.
No, I thought maybe. Well, no, because Trent Alexander-Arnold is the least. He's a Scouser, isn't he? So he's the least English. Right. He's probably cares about a World Cup least of anyone in the squad. No, I looked it up after we mentioned it last, and he's just never bothered to change it. You don't have to do anything, Trent. Just go and ask the gaffer. Say number 2 is free. I'll have that next season.
He's never bothered to change it.
He's got a team full of people to do all the branding and stuff. He'll have his marketing team to do, and just getting the number. He just asks his manager, surely.
Yeah.
No one else has got it. It's not like he's taking it off
somebody else. Yeah.
I'm not bothered by it, mate. Just mentioning it.
What about just going back? Let's bring it back to county. Cody Johnson. What number's Cody got?
34.
34. Does he want to keep that, or is he? I bet he's angling for number 8. And he on?
That's not be silly. Come on.
What?
No.
Eventually.
Yeah.
No, I say angling, aiming for then.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think so. And again, I mean, I've not had the conversation, but maybe because he wore that last year, he might think, well, I'll wear the same this year because it's a lucky number I made my debut in it. But you'd think that eventually they'd be wanting to get.
See, Phil Foden did that, and now look at the fucker wearing number 47, and they've just given number 7 to Cancelo today.
Yeah, he was a fullback.
Yeah. Oh, it's appalling business.
Cody Johnson's debut, though, didn't he send two? Who were they? Cheshunt players into the pop side. That turning it. Even I was like, trying to follow the ball.
That 99 you mentioned.
Back to the questions then, because we've done no research. No, but we know about you anyway, Dave. Challinor and Gannon are very different managers, but have they got similarities?
They both have heads.
Because I guess the different kind of, I say managers. What about in the coaching? Because they're all coaches now, aren't they? I guess.
Yeah, so both are hands-on coaches.
Right.
So both will want to coach. So they'll want to be on the grass. So, they'll let the other staff do some, but they'll want to be hands-on. They'll want to go through stuff. They'll want to, especially I think getting the closer they get to the match day, they want to go on and they want to set out the 11v11 and talk about the structure and how we're going to play. So both are very, very hands-on coaches. So as like you said, the managers, but they are coaches as well.
Yeah.
I think they both probably love getting on the grass and actually coaching. So as much as the manager role is different, really, and they oversee it and everything that goes alongside it, I think a definite similarity would be they both like being on the grass and they're both coaching. Yeah.
What about match days then? Because we could tell that Gannon was a bit of a shouter, in barking instructions. Challinor not so much, I don't think. He still does it, I think. But
he probably does it probably to a lesser extent. And I think, he still will have moments where the lads will be told if he needs to be told. He's not afraid to tell them, and they know that. They know where they stand with him, and he's honest. So if you've done something well, and they'll get the praise. But likewise, if they're not doing something they've been asked to or not up to standard, they'll get told sort of two ways about it. So they're very, I guess you've got to do that as a manager, haven't you? You've got to do that, and I think the thing he'll always say is, I'll be honest with you, so I'm going to tell you. You might not always like what you're going to wear, but if it's honest and I'm telling you the truth, that's it. And it's I think players sometimes don't realise it's to help them, isn't it? So the info you're doing, it's actually to help them. Whether they're not carrying out the instructions or whatever. So I think there's a way to do it, isn't there? They need a criticism or they need to be told, but likewise, it's to try and help them.
Yeah, is that down to recruitment again, where you get a player in that knows their own ability and the limits and can take criticism on board and act upon it rather than taking it on board and going in a huff, so to speak?
Yeah, it's probably knowing, again, a skill of the coach and the manager is knowing what players will respond to what. So who needs that arm round and told in private, who needs that shouting out in front of the lads, and who responds to what best, so you know what you're going to get the best out of it. But likewise, you're limited of what time you've got at half time or on the touchline where you've got to tell them what to do. So sometimes it's a matter of probably being a bit more direct and making sure they do what they're asked of.
Yeah, could you do it, Russ? No training side of it. I can take criticism. I get it from Russ every week. But at the same time,
I'll upset you though. Is it all right?
Yeah. I get enough criticism from Russ and from my girlfriend. I'm just like, I can't take it in a professional setting as well.
No, I mean the highest I ever played was Stockport District Sunday League. I didn't mind it from managers. I mean, I say managers, it's Stockport District Sunday League, isn't it? What I couldn't handle it from was other players that I knew were either equal to me or they might have even been better than me, but it was the way they were delivering it. And at Sunday League, there's no prisoners, is there? Even on the Saturday League, in Stockport, I've watched it before, county ladies matches, and they're calling each other names, it's barking at each other, and I just, as a player, I just like, well, you're just shouting at me for nothing, so why do I even bother? But I guess that's why I'm not a professional, isn't it? A professional would go, well, I'm not taking that. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna prove you wrong, and go the other way.
I guess it's if it's get personal, isn't it? You can take criticism, but if it's personal, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it's a bit like, hang on, I'm not gonna listen to that, or I'm not going to do that. Rather than if it's just something to make you better or change what you're doing, then you can take it a little bit better. And and if you disagree with something, then there's time and a place to have that conversation.
Yeah. Back to back to coaching. We'll move on to what time we're on? Can you tell? I don't even know what time it is. What are we on?
It's 8:15.
Is it 8:15? We started it, so we're 45 minutes in already.
45 minutes in.
Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it?
You just turned into like an 80-year-old man then for a minute. Grandad Russ.
Yeah, training routines. Training routines. Let's not get onto that line of talking.
Oh, no,
yeah. Training routines. When is there any particular sessions you put on where is the collective groan from the players?
Anything yesterday?
Rondo or something. I don't know.
Probably the physical one is that they think, we're not looking forward to it. But again, I think times have changed where they know they've got to do it. And I think we tried to get away from that by saying, look, you're doing this because. So if we need them to do a certain amount of high-speed running, it's to injury prevention and to make sure they're ready for it.
Yeah, they know why they're doing it.
Even as an adult, if you tell someone why you're doing it, look, you're going to do this because it's going to help you. It's going to stop you getting injured. You feel good for the weekend. Then they do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think probably in the past, and if it's sort of with physical stuff, it's a bit like, no, that's what I do with the football. But I think that times have changed, and it's professional now, and they're happy to do it. Really.
Yeah. So when you say
moan behind our back.
yeah.
It's cool to be healthy now, isn't it? That's why we do it, isn't it?
Yeah. So when you say physical, do you mean like laps of the pitch and things like that?
Yeah, not so much my laps, but some short sort of
bleep tests.
Yeah, we've not done the bleep test, but if you're doing some pitch runs to get a certain amount of distance that they need to get in, so they know it's going to be tough, but it's not a moan if I don't want to do it. It's just like, this is going to be tough work, which it's going to be. So they've had a few sessions. We've tried to do a lot with the ball. The majority of it, even though it's been physical or fitness side, it's been with the football. So it's again, it keeps them engaged.
Yeah, so that's what they want, isn't it? Yeah. Even children, that's what children just want to have a football at the feet, don't they? Moving on to sort of, if we bring it up to date, then this season, the season just last season, it's last season now.
We're now on this season.
I know, we're now a football league club. So going back to last season, then the running at the end. We've said a lot on this podcast how much it got to us. Well, it got to me definitely.
We just had a full-on breakdown by the end. Last episode,
which culminated in the Wrexham match. How was it inside the camp? I mean, we asked Charlie, and Charlie was very. He was like, well, it was nothing. He was very
annoyingly calm.
Yeah, it was, but how were the players? Did any of them need like picking up, or extra motivation? Did they think we'd lost it, or
no? I think, as you said, there from the manager, his calmness was his trust and his faith he had in the players. So he'd say that to players, and I think one thing we always did, even towards the end of the season, we kept everything in house, so there's no one was going out saying best team in the league, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
We'll have our conversations inside. We knew what our aims were, but we did keep calm, and I think that comes from the manager. So the manager's calm, and that portrays down to all the staff. It portrays to the players. So there's elements in certain games, or like you said after the Wrexham game, where you can't help thinking what's happened, what's this going to do. But then it would be keep doing what we do. So if we keep doing what we do, it will come good, and keep the faith and trust in what we're doing. But yeah, I guess it's how you deal with it at the top. If that was flipped it and you rip everything up and you make 6-7 changes the next game, or you change what you've been doing, and all of a sudden I think the players probably and the fans look at it, something must be wrong because they've changed.
Yeah.
But if we did have a little blip or something, it was not wholesale changes, something maybe tweaks, and we got back on it. It probably just made it a bit more exciting, didn't it? Taking it to the last game, Well, it would have been boring to
cheers.
win it the month before, wouldn't it? So
that's what friend of the show Ben Walker was saying on Yellowboard when we were stretching up a bit of a lead. He was saying, it'd be nice to have a bit of jeopardy though, wouldn't it? People are, you're a psychopath. And on the final day, he was on there within 5 minutes of the final whistle going, wasn't that worth it more? Well worth the turmoil.
Yeah.
I didn't think that at the time, but yeah.
No, it was
I added a bit of jeopardy.
It was horrific at the time, I've got to say. But
I think once we beat Torquay, it was lightning and eating again. It was we're not going to let this slip.
But that's it. We won it with 6 points. We won it with 6 points in front in the end, didn't we? And it felt like the Torquay game. All of a sudden we were just back to our normal selves before the blip. I think the Grimsby game started it all off, didn't it? Obviously, the unlucky odd sending off of Sars because we were on top before that. And then I won't say the wheels came off, but Yeovil away, there's something not quite right, with it.
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of. When you look at any team at any level, you'll see them caving at the end. You think, how they just conceded 2 goals towards the end, or what they're doing, and it's probably that subconscious, little bits, and it'd be easy to say I had a little bit of bad luck if Sars hadn't been sent off on that one at Grimsby. We'd probably gone on and won. I think we won 2 or 3 quite comfortable. Likewise, a Yeovil, the game had just turned sort of the momentum was just going, and I think we all thought we're going to get something out of this, and then
and someone threw something on the pitch, didn't they?
Delayed it a little bit, but it was trying to keep calm and trust in what we're doing, and this sort of from a staff, they say it's trying to control what we can control. We couldn't affect what else was going on outside of it, so we just had to look at ourselves, and we had that opportunity, and I think everyone was of the same mindset. Look, we've got ourselves in this unbelievable position now that they'd never dreamt of 6 months ago. So there's sort of no chance we're gonna. Yeah,
you didn't need one of the players coming on a stupid podcast and ruining it all, did you?
We do that. But that was so noticeable every time when, especially like teams like Chesterfield and Wrexham players giving it out in like October. Yeah. Like, oh well, I've not seen a better team.
Yeah, Country Mile. Jeff King said
Country Mile.
They were the best team by a Country Mile.
And it's so noticeable every time that we weren't doing that.
But that's what I like. It sounds really weird, but that's what I like about us as we never got ahead of ourselves.
No,
mainly because we were shitting it basically. We were never ahead of ourselves. But the admins as well of the Twitters, which I think are quite influential. The Chesterfield admin, Jesus Christ, they were going to town, weren't they?
But that was like a 15-year-old, but especially after all the Chelsea stuff, the Chelsea loving, that got so weird.
It did get
weird. Really weird.
It did get weird. But then you've got Liam on ours. It's Liam on ours, isn't it? And everything, he was just very, just sat back and let it all unfold, didn't he? And it was really, I think he was really professional about it.
After we've beaten Torquay, it's just like, we're at home on Sunday.
Yeah.
If you want to come down, if you don't, fine.
But slow and steady wins the race, doesn't it? So
it's hard, isn't it? Because I guess you want to say it, but whose effect are you doing it? Because you're setting yourself up to be knocked down, aren't you? And if you prove right, then no one's really going to say to you, "Yeah, you're right. By the way, well done for that." You're just going to get all the knockers, aren't you? Waiting, people wanting you to be proved wrong.
Yeah,
because the Wrexham documentary, the trailer was out today for that.
Joking, I'm looking forward to that.
It's going to be good seeing County win the league on Disney Plus, isn't it? It's going to be great. But it actually, I mean, I'm a fan of football documentaries. Anyway,
I love them. I love them. Yeah.
Apart from the fact that when a team does agree to do one, they normally go on to have a terrible season. Like 9 out of 10 of them football documentaries, it's a team having just shit of a season. Even the Spurs one. I mean, that was the one where you think, well, this is definitely going to go to shit at some point. But I mean, obviously it goes to shit on the Wrexham one as well.
Does it? Oh, you spoiler alert.
Sorry, mate.
Jesus.
I don't know why we're talking about these little non-league clubs anyway, mate. 15 years in non-league, mate. What are they to us? I'm very much looking forward to that though, because I think we'll feature heavily.
I reckon
so. You reckon so? Yeah, like they did on the Salford. Mind you, Salford actually got promoted when they played us, didn't they? When we popped up on theirs, I think we beat them a couple of times, but they went on to get promoted.
Yeah.
But now it's like the whole thing that this documentary for Wrexham was building towards just hasn't happened.
No.
It's like having a documentary about like Harry Potter, and then episode 2, like the films don't come out.
They just stop.
Yeah.
Halfway through one film as well.
After Richard Harris dies, they're just like, oh, stop.
Just the credit, no credits or anything. Just stop. Have you, on a personal note, I don't know if you've got time, but do you ever watch these football documentaries?
Yeah, no, I've watched those. So I think the trailer for the Arsenal one came out as well.
Yeah,
that's the latest Arsenal one, because there's already an all or nothing Arsenal.
Well, nothing. In the case of both Spurs and Arsenal on that.
Yeah, I've started
the nothing option that time.
I do like them as well. I watched the Sunderland Till I Die one. That was good. Yeah, it was really good. So I have been saying to my lad, we're looking forward to the Wrexham one. I'm going to sit down and watch it together.
Have you seen the original Sunderland one, Premier Passions?
No.
That's good. Yeah, when we were in the Premier League and got relegated.
Right.
Like Kevin Phillips and Peter Reid and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's worth a watch.
Yeah.
I think that's why they chose to do
this one,
yeah.
No, it's good. It's good. So on to now then. How much are you looking forward to the EFL and being a bona fide EFL coach for the first time, I guess?
Yeah, it is. No, can't wait. I think probably since that Sunday at Halifax game, it's the excitement, just looking forward to it, thinking we sort of finally done there and got there, and we could enjoy I was going to say a day or two, but probably a little bit longer than that, the celebrations. But I think everyone's buzzing around the place. So that's from players, staff, everyone at the club. Speaking to the guys at the community scheme and the work they're doing, going into the schools. There's so many more kids looking forward to it and talking about it, wearing kits. And, even the news about the academy coming out now and the academy getting a Cat 3 status. So everything at the club is just like, wow, it's on the rise, and it's just it's an exciting time to be a part of it. And it's brilliant, and it's waiting for that first game a week on Saturday, but just everything from the season ticket sales and speaking to people, isn't it? Just chatting around. Not everyone's can't wait for it. It's sort of been a long time coming, but it makes it sweeter, doesn't it? Now at the
now it seems like it's about the town as opposed to just about the club now as well. Just feel like after a few false starts, the town's on the rise as well now, and it's pretty much started around the same time. Like yourself and Jim coming back in 2016, like Blossom's going big at the same time. Just since then. Great. That's my exciting moment of the week.
Yeah. Well, it's all the regeneration as well around the town.
That's so exciting.
And we are 3 Stockport lads. That you're a Stockport lad, aren't you? Yes. So I take it you'll be hanging around Stockport for the rest of your life, I guess. Yeah. So yeah. In fact, I was doing another interview for one of the radio stations.
another national publication.
Yes, it was. Yes, that's coming out next week. But they asked me what would be the point when I realised that we're back in the EFL.
When these people ring you, do you have to run and get Claire and say answer it and pretend you're my secretary?
No, I just put on a voice and then close the door. Yes, he said that. He said, "What point?" And I said, honestly, the point I reckon it'll be is when Kenny Boxall says for this Football League 2 fixture or whatever he'll say. Do you know what I mean? Because that to me is. I've been ever since I've been going county. He's been there, and saying it for the leagues that we've been through to, and it broke my heart when he said for this Skrill
Premier North.
The first time we went down. Who was that against?
It was Blue Square Premier North.
Was it Blue
as well? National, Blue Square. Then we went down and it turned to Skrill.
Oh right, okay. Yeah. So the first time we were in Tier 5.
Yeah, it was Blue Square Bet. Yeah.
Blue Square Bet, and who did we play?
Home.
Yeah.
I think it would have been Ebbsfleet on the Tuesday.
Right, I can't remember.
It was a red London commuter town. It's a London commuter town who play in red. So I'm going for Ebbsfleet. Anyway, coming in Woking.
When Kenny Boxall said it for the first time, I was like, "Oh, it's real now." So when we get back,
I think he felt.
I guess for us, it's the little things that sound daft, but it's like we've got decent footballs now, so we've got the decent footballs to trade. So last year it was a standing joke that you're going to end up headaches if one of those when you had those balls and stuff, and it's like, right, we don't need to use them. We've got these decent balls, so you don't get headaches from them now. So
because that must have been
little things like it's a standing joke, but it's
So I'm guessing that was a novelty, like when we had a big FA Cup game, because we had a few obviously over the last 3 or 4 years. So when you get the FA Cup ball, especially that must be exciting.
You're not going to break your toes when you strike one of those.
I did that bad. I did that bad. Oh,
yeah.
Wow, God, I think you see how you go to sports soccer and get a 5.
But no, it's I think there's a big relief when
that
big balls come out.
Is the training wear they give you as well? You have like Vanarama on the back. I guess we get our own now, do we? We just kit ourselves out.
Our own clubs, which to be fair we did most of last year because it never came all whatever sizes, so we just sort of wore our.
And did they not have anything to say about that?
No, I think
they're just glad we're leaving. It's like The Office where Michael Scott knows he's leaving and he's just walking around drinking scotch for like 4 weeks. She's like, they're off. Do what they want. Yeah, they can live stream a game that's on a Wednesday night.
I just thought they'd have something to say about that if we're not wearing it. I mean, I didn't really notice myself.
Yeah, I think they have to give you what it is, and we didn't have to do the right amount of gear or the right size. So it's a case of we've not got the stuff. So no.
Just blame COVID for everything.
There might be an email going in the morning. Listen to this.
I don't imagine the people in charge of the Vanarama National League watch this type of. I don't think they know what the internet is.
I would suspect they've not got time. Do you have ambitions yourself of being a number one at some point?
A few people have asked me that, and long term, possibly, yeah, but it's not something that I want to now. You know, I think I love the role I've got, and it probably suits me in terms of my do the coaching and personality. It probably suits me better. But I'd never say never, but it's not sort of on my list that, you know, in X amount of time I won't be doing this at all. Sort of just enjoying the journey at the moment. I know it might sound a bit corny, but sort of enjoying the journey and what we're a part of. So, you know, one day in the future maybe, but it's not sort of a burning ambition at the moment where I've got wanting to do as such.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean about the journey. I mean, obviously we're part of it anyway. Why? I mean, for me, why would you want to leave to go and do something else?
Why would you get off this train, baby?
Well, yeah. And, you know, especially in the fans forum last night, they were talking about going up to a 20 or 22 seat stadium.
That was the air-conditioned fans forum.
It was freezing, mate. It was freezing, honestly. No, there was people complaining it was too cold. I'm not joking, there was.
Can we just leave them locked in Edgley Park and just have them periodically zapped with a cattle prod over the summer?
Yeah, it was pretty cold.
Do you know who the people are who were complaining it's too?
Well, they were complaining to me. So.
Do you know names?
I'm not going to say them now.
No, when we're finished.
All right, okay.
It'd be nice to have some people to look at and judge. When we're back in Edgley Park. You know, when you see someone and like nod at him and he goes, "Who's that?" And I can say, "Oh, that's Billy Big Balls. He said it was too warm during a heat wave.
Too cold.
That's too cold during a heat wave. Had a terrible time of it."
You've lost my train of thought.
Yeah, that's what I do.
It's what you do. Yeah, I have to hold on to you. Don't
The forum, capacity.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah. Back to the forum. Yeah, they were talking about the capacity reaching 22, having boxes in the pop side. It's like, wow, you know.
I won't need one. I can see from where I stand. I won't need a box.
No, I
won't
won't
need to take a box.
No, I won't. But that'd be nice when it boxes in the pop stand and things. And just
I can't wait to move over to the pop side.
That's where I'll be going.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah, move those. You've sat at County before. Have you?
Yeah.
Where have you sat? Have you sat all around County or?
Yeah, I think it'd still be standing. Wouldn't be in the railway end. What was the home end, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Standing there.
Yeah.
And then they did sort of what would we Cheadle end as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to the standing and. If that's sort of something we can save standing in the future.
Yeah, that was mentioned, wasn't it?
That was mentioned, yeah, safe standing. Yeah, Harry asked that one. Something they're thinking about. I mean, they answered it everything really eloquently. It was really good. So we had a non-football side and then a football side, and it was, hats off to everybody, really.
I was hoping the Heat would have sent people to Lally and they just would have come and asked mental questions.
It was freezing.
I'm glad that you're over it, though, mate. Did you have to wrap a little jumper around you?
Well, those cricket one, the white cricket jumper. So EFL then week on Saturday. I take it. Oh, it's a stupid question, but everyone's prepared for it.
I was going to say, I take it you're going.
Yeah, it's like you said before. Can't wait for it now. So we've obviously got games on Saturday to get minutes and get everybody up to speed and work on the things we want to work on. Then it'll be a full week of prep ready for the Barrow game. But it is that excitement and the buzz around the place ready to go, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, two things. Number one, in the fans forum, it's the last time I mentioned that, the fans forum, but in the non-football side, a chap did stand up and ask Challinor, was he looking forward to having Rooney back, playing against Rooney, and everyone's going,
that's the type of bullshit they ask you on Football Manager. When you do the press conferences on Football Manager, and it's all like, "Oh, what do you think of Brighton putting their third choice left back up for sale?" And it's like, and then when you click that you're not bothered, it says the public will want to hear an answer from you. Do you reckon Klopp gets that in his press conferences? But then you can't hand it over to your assistant.
Once you started.
No, you can choose like send assistant, but if they ask you questions about transfers, like someone coming in for one of your players, then you end up with your assistant going, "Yeah, we're happy to accept any bids," and like your top striker's off.
Have you ever been sent to the post-match press conference because Jim didn't want to?
Can
you remember
I think there's once when his voice had gone. So his voice had gone.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
I remember that actually. Yeah,
Right.
because Scott Duxbury had a great day that day.
And I think there might be one. I think there's a couple through whatever reason. Yeah.
You comfortable with that?
Yeah. It's one way I think the fans always walk away from the manager, don't they? So if it's somebody else doing it, they go away from the manager.
Yeah.
But if it, for whatever reason, if the manager couldn't do it, then it's somebody else needs to do the questions. But I think as a fan, you want to hear what the manager wants to say, don't you? And get asked the questions.
Yeah. And I guess if the manager can't, then you want to hear from the assistant, because if you hear from nobody, then we all think, what's going on? Don't we? Something's wrong.
Yeah. It's good that you trusted though, because I wouldn't be trusted if it was up to me and you.
No one's available.
This is why Russ does all the media appearances and stuff like that. Because Talksport don't want me turning up and going, no, bus timetables and parcel day. Whoa.
Yeah, I've asked Dan to cover for me in the past.
He's taking the piss at that.
Yeah, and then I don't know if you know this, but we there's a bit of a joke that we've waited 11 years to get back into the Football League, and our first 3 fixtures are Barrow, Stevenage, and Harrogate. It's like, all right, okay. But I guess everyone's prepared for it, and everyone's excited, and I guess on a serious note, looking forward to playing Rooney and playing Bennett as well. Is there another one there as well? Yeah. Or is it just them two?
Just them two.
Yeah. Actually, the manager was Halifax's manager.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So that's an interesting. His final game, and then his first game in the Football League.
We're not sure if that's ever happened before. No. Do you know, because he's manager of Halifax, then thingy. Yeah. And we had Chris Warburton on from Radio 5 Live, and they've got a stat guy, haven't they? Don't know if you've ever heard this stat guy? Yeah, and he's not come back to us yet.
Right. So that's the question.
He's probably got stuff about like the war on Ukraine and the growing political gap forming in society.
Probably, yeah. I reckon as soon as Chris walked out of it, he just like,
I bet he started composing the text to that guy. Halfway through, was like, weird.
So we're all looking forward to it, and I just cannot wait. I don't know if you can sense my excitement, but I can't wait, honestly.
You didn't ask me if I was looking
Are you looking forward? Oh, no, you are. I know you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we've got in it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to going to Basque beforehand as well for a few drinks on the Saturday. Yeah. Looking forward to drinking in the sun, watching the away fans get off the train. Unless I think there's a train strike actually the day of the Barrow game. Yeah. So the inhabitants of the Upside Down won't be able to grace us with their presents. Yeah, I think it is train strikes that weekend.
Right. That's going to be a nightmare for them.
That'll shave 7 off the number.
Bit of an odd one, Barrow, isn't it? Because they all live around Manchester and train in Manchester, don't they? That's weird, isn't it? It's like the soul of the club is separate from the actual ground, isn't it? It's weird.
Training Salford, isn't it? Around that way.
Yeah. So. I remember back in the National League North, it was a weird thing that they did that. I remember it being pointed out on commentary, because didn't we have them over? We used to get them over Christmas a fair bit in National League North as like the local game.
Mm. Yeah, they were based at Hotwood Hall for a little bit, Rochdale way. So
yeah, it's a weird one. But then I suppose it makes sense, because who wants to live in Barrow? It's unless you work on the subs at BAE Systems, he wants to live there. Weird, isn't it? Listen, thank you so much for coming on. I think we're probably over, are we? We need to do a bit of admin.
I'm just free and easy with the weather, mate.
I know.
It just makes me into a sunnier, more bright person. You didn't believe that, did you? I didn't believe
I didn't believe a word you said there.
What is happening in Admin Town, Russell? The parish notices.
So Admin Town. So we're still trying to get hold of Phil Thorley, who's won the Champions Print. Grab us that Champions Print. Well, I was going to say Nick, but Dave, if you want to, please, mate. Just like grab us that Champions Print, Dave. So Phil Thorley won this. So if anybody knows Phil Thorley, because we've tried to contact him and we've had no response, he's won that. If he doesn't claim it by next week, we're going to draw the name out of the hat again, I think. Shall we do that?
Oh, I'm just got to write them all down on bits of paper again.
Why did you chuck the last ones away?
Because we've done it. I was basking in the triumph of the competition. Well done, Russ. Let me have this.
You know how well competitions go on this.
Competition, and we did a magic trick, right? And I thought that was that done.
We've got another comp going because everybody seems to be doing champion sprints these days. So Michael J. I Wood Design, we've got a Twitter comp going on that. So you need to retweet the tweet we put out and like and follow Michael J. I Wood and follow us as well. I think I've got that right. Have I got that right? I don't know. Go to the tweet to find out. Me and Nick are hosting the Basque gig on Sunday.
Right. I'm going to take umbrage with this because this is the last time we'll mention it.
Okay.
Stop calling it a Basque gig.
What is it then?
It just gives me the image that we've got to turn up wearing sexy stuff. Every time you say me and Nick are doing the Basque gig, I think of me and you in a pair of little bras. And it's not good.
I didn't even think about that.
Every time you say, yeah.
Sorry, mate. So we're hosting the 100 Club book launch at Basque.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, yes. The book is available. It's Phil Brennan who's wrote it, aren't they?
Yes.
And there's people coming down with us to do that.
Yeah, Ben Walker's going to be there with his shirts. Penno's going to be there with his drawings. Sorry, Penno.
How to dismiss one man's secondary income stream.
Sorry, Penno. I mean your artwork. Have you seen some of the artwork that's going around for County, though? It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah.
There's some really good stuff at the moment.
An army of top content creators.
We
and
have
us.
And us, yeah. As Dave Espley, editor of the Tea Party, once said, we are well served for tat. Aren't we?
Yeah,
he said that. It wasn't me. He said that.
Speaking of Dave Espley of the Tea Party and also of this parish, when he fancies it, he's done a new piece for, I think it's in the new issue of When Saturday Comes.
Oh, was it?
Magazine. Yeah, he's done a piece about putting out there that County are the team of the 90s.
Yeah, see, very much is the man for County in the 90s, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the correspondent, yeah.
Yeah. If anything comes up about County in the 90s, do you know Dave Espley? The Tea Party, yeah. Did you ever buy it when you were a kid as well? Yeah. Oh, great, wasn't it?
I'm just waiting for Radio Manchester to have him on mid-season. Over to Dave Espley, our County in the 90s correspondent.
It'll be Phil Brennan or Dave Espley, won't it?
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Ben Walker's getting in there, Radio Manchester, though. He gets a few calls off him. Good. Good that they're mixing it up.
If you haven't worked
out white men.
I know, yeah. Let's not get into that. If you haven't worked out, by the way, everybody, Dave is a real Stockport lad. I mean, he bought the Tea Party when he was a kid. That's brilliant, isn't it? There's no one else who else at County would say that works at County could say that?
Cashy?
As when he was a kid?
Oh,
he's probably early 30s, isn't he? Early to mid 30s.
So am I bought it.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I bought it, and that's where I learned all my swears from.
Is it?
Like going to school on Monday morning, like, dickheads.
So we are doing that gig on Sunday, and there's going to be loads of ex and current players there.
The trophy's going to be there, and as of today, Dave Challinor is going to be there. Well, we've known for weeks, but
yeah, Dave Challinor's going to be there. That's been announced now, and Steve Bellis with the trophy as well. Do look out for our new podcast coming out this Friday, which is the greatest Manchester football podcast. So we're doing that, and we've teamed up with podcasters from all the other clubs around Greater Manchester. So that's going to be good, isn't it?
It's like Band-Aid for smelly blokes. It's going to be great, isn't it?
I'm definitely going to be in the Balm cake, chip balm corner.
Balm.
I think we're the only people that are going to say that, though, aren't we?
I'll fight them if I have to, mate.
Chip balm? It's chip balm? Yeah.
Chip balm. Yeah.
It's going to be a chip roll.
But one of them is going to come in with something we didn't even think of. Actually, it's a Coblington.
So look out for that on Friday. That's GM Footpod on Twitter if you want to get hold of that.
And Instagram.
And we're on YouTube as well. It's like we haven't got lives. I've got a very busy life. I don't know how to fit this all in.
Got a busy life that I'm filling full of stuff I don't get paid for.
Yes, I know.
So are we live on Friday night, Russ?
We're live on Friday night, but usually it's recorded.
So it's a little getting to know you episode, isn't it?
Yes.
And because it's live, anything could happen and not get edited out.
Yes.
It's just a really sinister thing to say about any podcast that I'm involved in.
Right.
Just keep people guessing.
And the Fan Hub app updates this week, and the new edition or the new
build,
the new build update, whatever it is, it will be available on Friday. So make sure you get that. There's over 1,100 County fans that have got the app
worldwide.
Now. Yeah, yeah, worldwide. But it's an app, right, Dave, that you get. but you're rewarded for being an actual fan. So if you go to matches, you put your mileage in.
Predict the teams that they
that sort of thing. Yeah.
The Challinor lads did well.
Well,
The Challinor lads did well.
Well, yeah, Ellis Challinor did really well, and everyone's. And
I've bought a pint for that year.
And I've had like mates coming up to me going, he's cheating though. He must know the team before it's announced.
My brother-in-law was asking me who's going to be playing tomorrow. Then.
Brilliant. So that's a new app, and sorry, it's not a new app, but the new app comes out on Friday, and it's even better. And there's more rewards, and there's different leaderboards, and it's just really good. So that is that.
I agree with that message.
You agree with that transcript, yeah? That message, good.
As one of the top 1,000 county influencers out there, I wholeheartedly endorse that message.
Brilliant. Right. Well, all that's left to say is cheers, Dave, for coming into the County Arms. What do you think of the place?
It's class. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Like
Loads of great stuff all over the place. Yeah, it's good.
I was trying to think if there's something I can get you to sign. Is there a picture of you? There must be a picture of you somewhere in a program or something. Yes.
It could be in there.
Yeah. Would that be okay?
Of course it would.
Oh,
Pleasure.
nice
Yeah,
one.
no,
Oh,
thanks, Abby.
Funny you said no. No, you didn't. What's your problem?
That'd be cool. Cheers. Yeah, and Nick, thanks for coming on time.
Yeah, I just want to bring normality to the show. always delighted to be on time and early, if anything.
Thank you to everybody for watching. If you haven't already, I've got to say this, please subscribe and like the video. And if you're on the podcast, whatever you're listening to, please do review it if you're on Apple, and like and share and things on Anchor, Spotify, and all those good things. And just thank you for continuing to listen to us talk about county every week, because we don't get paid for it. I don't know why I said that.
You don't?
No.
One of you does.
I've got an Uber here.
So cheers, thank you, and see you next week.
And now you get to go and show them your legs while you move over.
I know, yeah. This is going to be
Should have to be 18 plus this one now, won't it? Oh, that's really awkward, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the most awkward thing that's ever happened.